Alright, people. So I'm here with a review on the 2014 political year and what happened, throughout the world as it relates to current events and shit. And I mean, overall, I wouldn't really say it was that great a year. I mean, we had, the beginning of the year, we had what happened with Russia, really, and, that wasn't good. I mean, we had the U.S. pretty much clearly involved in that overthrow. Also, George Soros admitted to funding the overthrow. George Soros also admitted Nazi collaborator when he was 14 years old. So you had that, and I mean a lot of people, of course. When something like that happens, people are like, "Oh, we gotta go and defeat Russia. Let's drop nukes on them." I see people just get all up in arms, and if you're for Russia, you deserve to be not if you're for Russia, but if you're not for blowing Russia off the face of the earth, you're like a terrorist. I mean, these people really get crazy when it's like almost like a poison. Like when it comes to war, some people just get so like weird. It's like, we gotta kill all these innocent civilians. We're gonna nuke all this whole Middle East. We're gonna nuke it all. It's like they get so fucking just warmongering freaks. It's like so crazy. So you had that happen, the demonization of Vladimir Putin, and I'm not saying Putin's great, but he's definitely not really going along with the New World Order agenda, I wouldn't say. So then you had really the immigration bullshit, where we clearly had an open border, letting the aliens in, the illegals in. Well, people just call them immigrants. The immigrants. That's what people were calling them. I didn't really hear too much of calling them illegals, which they were. I mean, it's like calling a murderer, a regular person. It's like referring to a murderer as a nice person, or like they call an illegal an immigrant. Like really, it would like be calling a murderer a Samaritan or a good quality citizen. I mean, it just doesn't equate. It doesn't make sense. Like about MSNBC was like, yeah, all these immigrants coming up through the border. They're not immigrants. An immigrant is somebody who legally comes here. An illegal is somebody who illegally comes here, not legally, illegally. So you had that happening. I mean, the open borders. I mean, that was even in mainstream news. They even had a border agent on Fox News saying, yeah, we pretty much help with the smuggling process. And I mean, and then Obama, of course, uses executive action unconstitutionally to legalize the aliens, which he even admitted himself changed the law. That's enough right there to impeach his ass. I mean, he admitted to being a criminal, yet nobody gives a shit. I bet that wasn't even on Fox News. So you had that. Then you had really Ferguson, the beginning of Ferguson. Could the cop maybe have used less force? Yeah, maybe. But I mean, still, the guy had fatal intentions on hand. He tried to go for the officer. What were really, made me question the whole situation. This guy is Michael Brown. I mean, why would he turn back? I mean, supposedly he ran like fucking 100 feet or whatever, 125 feet or some shit like that. Then he got shot. And then he got shot, then he kept running for like 20 feet. Then he turned back around. Why would you do that? When you know the guy has a gun. So, that really made me question it. And are they lying? It's like this. When the police do something wrong, or there's a police shooting, who investigates it? The police or the government do. You can't do that. It's like if a murderer went out and killed somebody. Would you trust the murderer to investigate himself? No. When a police shooting happens, it has to be investigated by a private, unbiased organization. So we know that it's 100% true. It's 100% legitimate. So if that story is true, though, what the police said, I would not indict Wilson. I mean, could he have used a taser? Maybe. Yes. But, I mean, I wouldn't indict him, I don't think. Would I indict the cop who killed Gardner? Yeah, I would. Because that was clearly Gardner wasn't aggressive. He wasn't showing any aggression. Did he resist arrest? I guess. But, I mean, It shouldn't have been a crime in the first place either, and resisting arrest shouldn't equate to getting killed either. So you had that, and they're clearly trying to stir up tension too. They're clearly trying to divide us by race and other issues. You know, trying to put us, cops versus the people, blacks versus cops, blacks versus whites. They're clearly trying to divide us. And I'm gonna make a video on this in the next week or a few days about a second civil war in America and how they're trying to play us off against each other, divide and conquer. That's what they're trying to do. And when I first heard Alex Jones talking about it, like, I don't agree with him on everything, Alex Jones. I mean, I certainly think he does fearmonger a bit. I think, he's talks about like nuclear attacks. I don't think that's going to happen. I think sometimes he goes a little crazy and a little overboard. I think mostly what he says is true, and I really support him. He was talking about, a long time ago, before all this Ferguson shit and, happened. He's like, yeah, it's going to be a civil war. And I remember he had Michael Savage on about the Civil War. I'm like, I don't know about the Civil War. Really? Are we really going to have another Civil War? I don't think that. But then I see what's going on right now, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a civil war. If you think of it is kind of violent, but I mean, not really violent right yet. But I mean, it is kind of violent in some aspects. So we had that, and again, they're like, yeah, we're going to announce the verdict in a few hours. Like, why in the fuck would you say that? And then they announced it. They're building it up, and the people are already there to start rioting. Just a fucking retarded idea. So then you had, you also had the shooting down of the planes too, MH370, MH17, and MH370 disappearing. That a plane just doesn't disappear. I don't think. Like, with all the technology we have, it's funny. The NSA knows like exactly that they collect all this data. They know where we are. There's all these spying shit around the world. The NSA is spying on our allies. Yet they can't find a motherfucking plane with people who had bones on in the plane. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous, people. If you believe that it just vanished and no trace of it, I mean, come on. There's got to be more to the story than this. I hear some people saying it's at Diego Garcia. I don't know about that. I don't know. I seriously don't know what happened to this. People are like, oh, they hijacked it, and the Americans are going to use it in a terrorist attack. No, that's not going to happen, because they could just use their own motherfucking plane, people, if they were going to do that. They're like, oh, they're going to do another 9/11. And we all know 9/11 was an inside job. I even got the sticker on my wall saying 9/11 was an inside job. But if they're going to do another 9/11, they're not going to use that plane. They're going to use their own plane. They wouldn't use that, or I don't think. Maybe they would. They'd be like, oh, that this terrorist group took it, and maybe it is a legitimate terrorist group hacking into planes, or maybe a country hacking into planes and landing it. But again, if that happened, we should know about that with all the technology we got. And then heading into, that was pretty much all the big stories. Oh, you had Ebola too, which is still out there. People might be like, oh, it's gone. You people, are crazy for thinking it could be a big thing. It's still out there. Still, 20,000. It just surpassed 20,000 cases, like 7,500 deaths, I think it was. It's still alive and well in South Africa, people. And is it here? It could be here. You never know with this lying ass government, what's true and what's not. And there was actually a Fox News report. Even Fox News said they think the government is hiding Ebola cases or not telling us information on Ebola cases. So I think it's very possible that there could be people with Ebola here in America. And you also had that Dr. James Lorenzi and Alex Jones' show saying they're pretty much disappearing people with Ebola cases. So, I mean, you had, it's very possible that there could be people with Ebola here in America, yet they're just not telling us about it. So, I mean, you always got to be on the lookout for the government lying. I mean, I see people just, eating their McDonald's, eating their Burger King, eating their Taco Bell, getting drunk, partying, smoking drugs, watching football, and not even paying attention to any of this shit. Just totally asleep to the government corruption. And when it's right in front of their faces, really, I mean, it would only take a few minutes to find some of this shit out. It would only take a few minutes to watch, some of this crazy ass shit. Read Operation Northwoods. read just some of the classified government documents out there. Learn. You know, it's very interesting actually when you actually learn about shit that matters, not about football. You know, I see Stuart Scott died. I remember Stuart Scott from ESPN. But I mean, really, we're gonna make this whole big tribute to Stuart Scott? I mean, come on, people. I mean, yeah, it's sad he died. It's sad when anybody dies, but you know, it's a big deal when a sports guy dies. Oh, let's pay tribute to Stuart Scott. How about we pay tribute to some of our founding fathers? You know, why don't we pay tribute to some of those guys? Or, you know, Ron Paul, or actually some of the true fighters of freedom out there in the world. Instead of paying, you know, idling these sports guys like they're gods. You know, it's sad when anybody dies, but I mean, it's ridiculous how, you know, people just get, it only matters when it's about sports or entertainment. So, I mean, there's pretty much a review, kind of just summarizing all the important events. I mean, we had, I think I had a successful year exposing government corruption. I hope I woke some people up too. I mean, that's my main goal is to inform other people about all this shit that's happening. And I got a lot of the articles I covered this year. All the articles, these are mostly all mainstream media, articles and government documents. I mean, a lot of memories here from 2015. You know, just looking through all this bullshit. You know, here's Fox News saying it's twisted for Harvard students to say the U.S. is a bigger threat to the world than ISIS. I don't think that's ridiculous at all. So I mean, if you look through all the documents here, it's cool to, you know, I remember like all the times I went through all these and you know. So I remember this one. Badass moms take gunfight to NRA's home turf. These moms think they're badass because they are for gun control, and it's the opposite. So I don't know where to put these. I'll just set them down there. So I mean, you know, I hopefully we got some people awake to the New World Order. This New World Order that's looking to really depopulate the nation or the world and institute a totalitarian, authoritarian, just horrible, you know, tyrannical government. So, you know, there you go, people. Hopefully we could wake some more people up about the government corruption and all the government bullshit that goes on. You know, a lot of people think that, oh yeah, the government's going to lie on some minor issues. But no, they lie on big ones too, like 9/11. They will lie, and people are like, oh, it's just crazy to believe that. They don't really have any explanation because they're just so brainwashed. They're so brainwashed by mainstream media, telling them that 9/11 conspiracy theories, or that's what they call it, the conspiracy theories. The real conspiracy theory is that 19 terrorists, you know, did it themselves. All right, that's the real conspiracy theory. We are the, you know, the theory that actually has information to back up what we say. So there you go, people. I mean, people just are just so brainwashed, and I think this is a year that people will tune into more alternative media and kind of reject the mainstream media. I mean, they're like, oh, these people aren't tuning into mainstream media, which is a good thing. But are they tuning into alternative? Alternative media is doing pretty good from what I see. I just hope more people are gonna tune into alternative media. Like, there's a lot of good alternative media out there. You know, Alex Jones, Breitbart, WorldNet Daily, Drudge Report. A lot of good websites out there. So there you go, people. There's my review for 2014 in the world. So hopefully 2015 is a good year for exposing government corruption, the New World Order, and hopefully it's a good year for waking people up to all this bullshit. So there you go, people.